Hello, let's look at part 2 here. So we have an obtuse angle of the parallelogram that is 150 degrees, and the measures of the side, the length of the sides at 10 and 12. Then the area of that parallelogram simply becomes 10 times 12 times sine of one of the angle, which is 150. Then here we have that's equal to 10 times 12 times 1/2. Sine of 150 is equal to 1/2. So therefore our final answer becomes 60. Therefore 60 is part 2, or choice 2. Here, sides of the parallelogram 6, 8, and the angle including is 150. Same idea. Area is 6 times 8 times sine of 150. So then, once you calculate this one, this becomes 24. Choice A becomes our answer. Area of the triangle with consecutive sides 4 and 5. And then in this case, since it's triangle, area of the triangle has to have 1/2. Unlike the parallelogram, we have 4 times 5 times sine of 59. So let's try to calculate this one together. One half, which is 0.5, times 4 times 5, and sine of 59. So the value is closest to 8.6 over here. Choice 2. Now area, angle C is between those two sides. So what we can do is we can simply apply the formula 1/2 6 times 10 times sine of the angle between them, which is 18 degrees. So let's look at it. Once again, 0.5 0.5 times 6 times 10 times sine of 18. So to the nearest tenth, it looks like about 9.3. Here we'll be using the law of sines here. So 5 over 1/5, which is sine of A, must be equal to 4 over sine of B. The way which you can calculate this by cross multiplication, we get 5 sine of B must be equal to 4 over 5. Then when you divide by 5, we get sine of B would have been equal to 4 over 25. That becomes our answer. Find the value of sine of C. It has to match with this one. Then we end up getting 6 over 0.4 because B over sine of B is in that order. So C, which is C is equal to 3, the length of that side, over sine of C. Once again, by cross multiplication, we get 6 sine of C is equal to 1.2 by multiplying 3 times 0.4. When you divide by 6, then we get to realize that sine of C becomes 1.2 over 6, which is equal to 1/5. Alright, let us look at the next question. 12 here. We want to figure out the value of C. Then let's try to look into this one. We can use the law of cosine here, so we get to have C squared is equal to 3 squared plus 5 squared minus 2 times 3 times 5 cosine of 120. Here that's equal to 9 plus 25 minus, this becomes 30 times, what is cosine of 120? Cosine of 120 is in fact equal to negative 1/2. Then we get to realize that this is positive 15, so 49 is the value that we end up getting. That's c squared, so c must be equal to 7. Same idea, so we have c squared must be equal to 5 squared plus 8 squared minus 2 times 5 times 8 and cosine of 60 degrees. Cosine of 60 is once again equal to 1/2. So we have 25 plus 64 minus your 80 times 1/2, which is equal to 40. So then we end up getting 49 once again as a c squared, so c becomes 7. Now, since we have, once again, we can use the law of sine here. We end up getting 19 over sine of 111 has to be equal to 10 over sine of c. From this setup, what we can realize is the 19 sine of c must be equal to 10 sine of 111. Sine of c must be equal to 10 sine of 111 over 19. That becomes our answer. Now, but 10 over 19, we see that here. But where do you see sine of 111? In fact, sine of 111 is equal to sine of 69. Because reference angle of 111 is equal to 69, so our answer will be choice 4. So here we have to use the law of cosine once again. C squared is equal to 2 squared plus 4 squared minus 2 times 2 times 4 and cosine of 120. Since cosine of 120 is equal to 1/2, this can cancel out with one of the 2's, or actually negative 1/2, so makes this one into positive. So we have 4 plus 16, and then plus here becomes 8. Then we get to have 28. So c is equal to 2 square root of 7. That becomes our answer, which is choice 15. Same idea here. We have c squared is equal to 2 squared plus 4 squared minus 2 times 2 times 4 times cosine of 60 degrees. Cosine of 60 degrees is positive 1/2. So that can cancel out with this one. So here we have 4 plus 16 minus 8. Therefore, this becomes 12. And c must be equal to taking the square root of 12, which will be equal to 2 square root of 3. Choice number 1. Now, using the law of cosine once again, cosine of a has to be opposite from side a, so we get 5 squared must be equal to 6 squared plus 8 squared minus 2 times 6 times 8 times cosine of a. Now, therefore, cosine of a must be equal to bring these two over to the other side. 5 squared minus 6 squared minus 8 squared. Divide the entire thing by -2 times 6 times 8. Let's try to simplify this one together. So here we have 25 minus 36 minus 64 all over. We have the bottom one. I'm just going to leave it this way because I'm sure there are things that which you can cancel right away. So this becomes 100. So we end up getting 75 over 2 times 6 times 8. We can cancel out by 3's. So we get 25 on top. And then bottom we get 32, which is choice 3. Find the cosine of c. Same idea as before. So we have 8 squared must be equal to 10 squared plus 7 squared minus 2 times 10 times 7 times cosine of c. Then we get to realize cosine of c must be equal to 8 squared minus 10 squared minus 7 squared, all divided by here, negative 140. Then this becomes 64 minus 100 minus 49 over negative 140. Then here, what do we have? Negative, basically 49. We get 85 over 140. Now we can cancel out by 5's. Then we end up getting 28 is on the bottom. We're going to get 17 on top. So 17 over 28. Alright, so here we have cosine of a, then opposite from a, so we have 4 squared must be equal to 3 squared plus 3 squared minus 2 times 3 times 3 times cosine of a. Notice that this a has to be opposite from side a, as you can see. So here we have 16 is equal to 9 plus 9 minus 18 cosine of a. Therefore, cosine of a must be equal to 16 minus 9 minus 9 over negative 18. Now, then this becomes 1/9. That's basically what we end up getting. Alright, so let us continue to look at it. So maximum number of triangles. So here we have angle ABC is opposite of side AC, so we're going to have 9 over sine of 135 will be equal to 10 over sine of x. So by sine of x will be in fact equal to 10 sine of 135 divided by 9. Now let's try to put that into calculator and see what happens. So I'm putting things into the calculator, and then we get to realize that sine of the angle was this one. So let's try to figure out the measure of the angle. Measure of the angle is 51. But one of the angle was already 135. They add up to more than 180 degrees. So therefore, it's not possible. Even this angle has to be rejected. Okay. Okay, we're gonna have the same idea. Angle A and then side A has to be opposite from each other. So we have 8 over sine of 30 will be equal to 12 over sine of x. So once again, sine of x becomes 12 sine of 30 over 8. And this becomes, when you calculate this one, sine of 30 is equal to 1/2, so 6 over 8, which is equal to 3/4. Then what's the value of x? Oops. Second sine of 3 over 4 so then the measure of the angle was, let us say, 48.6 degrees. Now if one of them is 48.6, then the other angle would have been 130.1.6. Now whether it be 1.1.6 or 48.6, with the measure of the angle 30, it will give us enough space for us to have the third angle. So therefore we have two possibilities. Both of them are accepted. Same story as before. So let's look at it. 4 over sine of 30 is equal to 5 over sine of x. So sine of x, we get to realize, is 5 times sine of 30 over 4. Now this becomes 5 over 8. So x must be equal to inverse sine of 5 over 8. Then this one gives us 38.7. So and the other measure of the angle would have been 141.3 degrees. Now whether it be 141.3 plus 30, it gives us 171, so that we could actually have this very small third angle. So what is this? So we have two possibilities. Both of them are accepted. What is the length of side C? So C squared will be equal to 4 squared plus 3 squared minus 2 times 4 times 3 times sine of C is equal to negative 1/2. Then this one becomes 16 plus 9, and this becomes plus 12, which will be equal to 37. So C must be equal to square root of 37. Carmen and Jamal standing this many feet apart on a straight horizontal road. They observed a hot air balloon between them, directly above the road. The angle of elevation from the Carmen is 60, and from Jamal is 75. So we have so let us assume that this is 75 degrees, and this is 60 degrees, and this is 5,280 feet apart, which is basically equal to 1 mile, but anyways. Now, find the height of the balloon. So how can we figure out the height of the balloon? We can figure this one out rather quickly. So let's call that as maybe h. But one thing that which we get to realize is this. So This is 60, this is 75, so measure of the entire angle that's opposite from 5 to 80 must be 45 degrees. Now then, using the law of sine, we should be able to figure out any one of these two sides. We get to realize 5280 over sine of 45 must be equal to, let's go for maybe 60. How about that? X, that means this becomes x over sine of 60. Then here we have x must be equal to 5280 times sine of 60 divided by sine of 45. Times sine of 60 divided by sine of 45. So x seems to be this value, 6466.7. Now that's what x is equal to. Then since we know that value using the sine or cosine, we should be able to figure out the value of h here. Since this is 90-degree angle and this is 75, we should know the measure of the angle here is 15. In fact, we don't actually have to figure that out, but since why don't we try to figure out the since sine of 75 is equal to h over x, and we know the x value was this one, so h would have been equal to x sine of 75. So I'm going to use the previous calculation, multiply that by sine of 75, and that becomes our final height. (6246.3). So it's about 6246 feet. All right. So that's basically what we're looking at. And we're going to look into part 3 very soon.